outlive Toyota trucks.
Named employees.
And here's WHIO's Ian James. To Troy, new details of the fire that destroyed parts of the oldest log tavern in Ohio.
State Fire Marshal says the blaze at the Overfield Tavern in December was accidental and started with an electrical issue in the boiler room. Workers demolished what was left of the most recent additions to the tavern.
That is WHIO's Ron Otto reporting. The museum says it will renovate the log house in the tavern area, but they'll need more funding to complete the project. Dollar General says it will be closing almost 100 stores nationwide.
Those stores, along with 45 Pop Shelf stores, will be closing by January 30th. Those 6 of the Pop Shelf stores will become Dollar Generals. CEO Todd Vasos says the closings represent less than 1% of the company's overall store base.
That is WHIO's Jason Michaels. Yesterday, lines were out the door at a Dollar General on Salem Avenue as new spread of store closures. A performance from 2 longtime friends will soon air.
Musicians Brandi Carlile and Elton John will star in a concert special arriving April 6th on CBS. The special, titled An Evening with Elton John and Brandi Carlile, will air at 8 p.m. Eastern and stream live for Paramount Plus with Showtime subscribers. The show will be available on demand the next day on Paramount Plus.
That is Fox's Monica DeLuca reporting. WHIO News Time, 6:05.
NASA astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore recently returned to Earth after getting stranded on the International Space Station for 9 months. The SpaceX mission to bring them home cost $140 million due to the crew dragging capsule's weight and safety systems. The Fab Four, USA Meets the Beatles, is coming to the Rose Music Center in Huber Heights on Friday, June 27th. You've got a chance to win a pair of tickets right now. Going to caller number 5 at 937-457-1290. Good luck.
WHIO has Dayton's #1 morning news program, Miami Valley's Morning News, packed with local news, storm center weather, and triple team traffic. 1290 and 95.7 WHIO. Depend on it.
Open the door to Dayton Door Sales. Family owned and locally loved, Dayton Door Sales is dedicated to giving your home the quality garage doors it deserves. Centered around a superior customer experience, our customers can rest assured that every member of the Dayton Door Sales family is committed to providing high-quality garage door installation and repair services at great prices. To learn more, visit DaytonDoorSales.com. Dayton Door Sales. Integrity, value, experience.
This is a Consumer Warrior Clark Howard Minute.
There have been such ugly scams that have been reported on heavily lately about people getting ripped off, conned on meme coins. And meme coins are different than crypto. They almost start out, in many cases, almost like a joke. It's been very easy for crooked promoters to promote them, run the value up, and then cash out before they collapse. And if you're interested in crypto, a little knowledge is really dangerous. The more you know, the better off you're going to be. And so be very cautious with putting any money in crypto till you really understand it. Not put in any money that you have to eat or pay bills or anything like that. And know the latest meme coin is going to burn you just like the last meme coins did.
Clark is WHIO's Consumer Warrior, and you can hear him during Miami Valley's Morning News on WHIO. This is the legendary WHIO, Dayton's only 24-hour news station. Using the power of News Center 7, we have dozens of reporters all over the Miami Valley.
News Center 7's Caleb.
Breaking news when it happens. We're the home of Dayton's only all-news morning show, Miami Valley's Morning News.
This is Larry Hansgen.
Then, throughout the day, listen for updated local news every 15 minutes. When breaking news happens, we stop what we're doing and go wall to wall. This is 1290 and 95.7 WHIO, Dayton's News and Talk. Breaking news all morning, the Storm Center 7 forecast to start your day, and triple team traffic. Miami Valley's Morning News continues on WHIO.
Good morning, and thanks for listening to Miami Valley's Morning News on this Thursday. I'm Brittany Otto. Trend Hunter says his Smile has released a new toothpaste, the Chocolate Coconut Toothpaste. Tastes like an amazing drink. It's available for a limited time only. Get yours now. 44 degrees in Dayton at 6:08.
I feel like that's the stuff you want out of your teeth
Right?
when you brush your teeth, not putting it back in. We're looking at 8 minutes here after 6 o'clock. I'm Jeremy Ratliff, and welcome to the first day of spring.
It is what we call the vernal equinox. The Earth sits on its axis. It tilts at 23.5 degrees, and as that Earth shifts, we bring in equal parts of daylight and equal parts of nighttime. Hence the word equinox.
That is Storm Center 7 meteorologist Brittany Ritz. The star of the Cincinnati Bengals will be featured in one of Netflix's most popular series.
Joe Burrow joins Atlanta's Kirk Cousins and Detroit's Jared Goff in the new season of quarterback set to debut in July. All three quarterbacks had their 2024 season chronicled on and off the field. A promotional video has been released, and the second season will debut in July.
That is WHIO's Christine Bellino reporting. And more classified files on the JFK assassination have been released, including some details about accused assassin Lee Oswald.
Oswald was known for years to have connections to both Cuba and the Soviet Union, where he once lived. In one of the documents, a former CIA employee recalled of Oswald and his wife that Oswald and Marina got their visas to the Soviet Union too easily.
Fox's David Spunt reports Oswald's behavior is being unusual, referring to his defection to Russia. In D.C., nearly half the owners of restaurants in our nation's capital say they fear they may have to close this year.
The D.C. Restaurant Association says full-service casual restaurants in Washington are facing an historic combination of pressures. An association survey finds that 44% of them say it's likely they won't last the year, citing rising costs and wage increases that outpace revenue.
That's Fox's Gary Baumgarten. The White House weighing in on the recent spate of attacks and protests surrounding Tesla dealerships in the U.S.
The White House is condemning Democrats for not speaking out about those attacks at Tesla dealerships and on the cars driven by folks who love Tesla and want to try to save the environment. They recall that Democrats were big supporters of Tesla and EVs. That is, of course, until Elon Musk decided to vote for Donald Trump. The AG, the Attorney General Pam Bondi, is calling such attacks domestic terrorism.
That's Fox's Kevin Core.
This is WHIO Continuing News.
And the popular Kings Island roller coaster is receiving improvements for the upcoming season.
Crews began working on the Beast, a wooden track, after the 2024 season was finished. The project is set to replace about 1,600 feet of the coaster's track and is estimated to be completed by April 19th.
That is WHIO's Ian James reporting. WHIO News Time, 6:11.
And time for us to get your 5-day weather forecast from Storm Center 7 meteorologist Brittany Ritz.
35 degrees this afternoon. We actually get colder through the day as our winds shift to the north behind a cold front. It'll feel like we're in the 20s, and a few snowflakes are possible on this first day of spring. Dropping down to 27 overnight, 54 tomorrow, partly cloudy. Dry on the front half of Saturday with a little sunshine, getting us up to 50. Next chance of rain moves in late Saturday and into Sunday, all day Sunday, with a low in the 20s and a high in the 50s. Monday, showers continue on early on as our temperatures hover around 52 degrees.
The live Doppler 7 radar is clear right now. It's 45 in Troy, 45 in Springfield, 44 degrees at Dayton Severe Weather Station.
This traffic report is sponsored by Grismer Tire and Auto Service. Refresh your ride with brand new tires at unbeatable prices. Plus, buy 4 new tires and get 4 free oil changes, an additional $300 value. Make an appointment today at GrismerTire.com.
And here's traffic expert Jake Magnotta.
Weather's affecting us a little bit this morning, depending on where you're at. The roads may be damp and it is a little windy out there, but there hasn't been a crash yet, and I am not seeing any major slowdowns for us to avoid on our highways. I'm Jake Magnotta.
Well, the Daily Breeze says a man recently bit passengers on a Delta flight from Atlanta to L.A. Crew members restrained the man. He was taken off the plane and rushed to a hospital for an evaluation. One passenger describing the ordeal as terrifying. And will we soon say goodbye to the Department of Education? That story in 3 minutes. WHIO News Time 6:12.
This is the Miami Valley's home for Fox News. WHIO.
For Good News in Dayton, this is Brent Kress with Wagner Paving. Today I would like to introduce my friend and founder of HDRT, Kate Osberg.
How we doing? Roger That Racing is a 501c3 nonprofit charitable organization dedicated to creating an inclusive community at and around motorcycle racing events that promotes youth programs fostering self-confidence and positive communication. We do a lot of veteran first responder outreach and givebacks thanks to our partners at Moto Shippers and Trimtex. In addition, we host a healthy hospitality area at events with complimentary good-for-you snacks thanks in part to Pathway to Herbs, Wagner Paving, and Reimers Kawasaki and KTM. Overall, our outreach encourages everyone to live with wide open gratitude at over 30 events a year across the eastern United States while helping others. Check out hdrtracing.com for more info on how we can help or how to get involved. Stay in the know by liking How We Doing Roger That Racing on Facebook and subscribing to the YouTube channel. HDRT is Good News in Dayton.
Good News in Dayton is sponsored by Grunder Landscaping, Day Air Credit Union, and Wagner Paving. For more information, visit goodnewsindayton.com.
For This Week in History, I'm Ron Otto. March 17th, 432, St. Patrick, around 16 years old at the time, is captured by Irish pirates from his home in Great Britain and taken Chuck Berry dies. March 19th, 2003, airstrikes by an American and British-led coalition signal the beginning of the Iraq War.
On my orders, coalition forces have begun striking selected targets of military importance to undermine Saddam Hussein's ability to wage war.
And March 21st, 1975, country music superstars George Jones and Tammy Wynette divorce after 6 years of marriage. For This Week in History, I'm Ron Otto.
This is a Consumer Warrior Clark Howard Minute.
Gosh, it feels like it's been so many years I've talked about skimming scams. That's where main target, you go to pay at a pump at a gas station and a criminal has put a little device there that captures the number on your credit or debit card. Well, new reports from law enforcement show that this scam is actually growing again, and you need to be aware that if you pay at the pump, do not do it with a debit card unless you can tap to pay. In fact, the best way to pay at the pump or at the pumps that now offer the ability for you to pay with Apple Pay or Google Wallet. Those are the safest ways for you to pay pretty much anywhere anyway, because every time you do a transaction, even if a criminal's hacking, it sends a unique one-time code that's useless to them.
Clark is WHIO's Consumer Warrior, and you can hear him during Miami Valley's Morning News on WHIO. That means we're talking about what you're talking about. Miami Valley's Morning News continues on WHIO.
Good morning, and thanks for listening to Miami Valley's Morning News. It is 6:16. Congratulations to Brenda from Lewisburg. She's won a pair of tickets to see the Beatles tribute band, the Fab Four. USA meets the Beatles at the Rose Music Center on Friday, June 27th. You've got another chance to win tickets tomorrow. Now, the three big things that you need to know today. An apparent accident is what caused flames to burn the oldest log tavern in Ohio in Troy. Well, come April, the president says he'll implement his reciprocal tariffs. And it is our top story this morning. Russia and Ukraine agree in principle to a limited ceasefire after President Trump spoke with the country's leaders this week.
And Brittany, dozens of military chiefs are meeting in the United Kingdom to plan how to send troops to Ukraine once a ceasefire is declared.
More than 30 countries are expected to form what British Prime Minister Keir Starmer calls a coalition of the willing. The United States isn't among them, but dozens of European nations plus Canada and Australia are. Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron set up the pact after President Donald Trump started talking to Russia without Ukraine or Europe at the table. The British leader said today's meeting will lead to strong and robust plans to guarantee Ukraine's future security.
That is Fox's Jonathan Savage reporting. Bringing you up to speed on what else is happening today. President Trump planning to sign an executive order calling for the shutdown of the U.S. Education Department.
This plan, expected to be announced today, was disclosed by a White House official who spoke on the condition of anonymity before an announcement. President Trump has derided the agency as wasteful and polluted by liberal ideology. However, finalizing its dismantling is likely impossible without an act of Congress, Service, which created the department in 1979.
That is WHIO's Will Taylor. A White House fact sheet says the order would direct Secretary Linda McMahon to take all necessary steps to facilitate the closure of the Department of Education. We now know the name of a woman who was killed in Logan County.
The incident happened on Clag Street in Bellefontaine. Police say 68-year-old Wanda Quint was found dead with several gunshot wounds at a home. They arrested her husband, 66-year-old Kenton Quint, on charges related to the death of his wife.
News Center 7's Nick Foley reporting. Over 5,000 people were without power as storms moved through the area last night.
5,142 AES Ohio customers were without power. About 2,600 individuals were affected in Mercer County alone. Some may still be experiencing outages as AES works to restore power.
That is WHIO's Ian James reporting. WHIO News Time 6:19.
And time for your 5-day weather forecast on this Thursday with Storm Center 7 meteorologist Britley Ritz.
Temperatures fall through the day as the cold front works its way through. A few snowflakes possible on this first day of spring. 27 tomorrow morning, 54 tomorrow afternoon, partly cloudy, which is pretty much where we should be. Low 50s on Saturday. A little sunshine goes a long way, but the clouds thicken up. And Sunday, we've got the chance of rain all day long with a high of 51. Lingering showers early Monday with a high of 52.
The live Doppler 7 radar is clear right now. It's 44 in Vandalia, 44 in Springboro, and 44 degrees at Dayton Severe Weather Station.
This traffic report is sponsored by Grismer Tire and Auto Service. Expert brake repair you can trust. Make sure you can stop when you need to the most. Get a little peace of mind by making an appointment today with your trusted brake repair experts at GrismerTire.com.
And now we check in with traffic expert Jake Magnotta.
Looking out for any issues this morning. Have yet to come across any big problems on the interstate. So I-70, just one spot where traffic's moving well right now. From I-675 to I-75, 10 miles through Huber Heights. It's a 9-minute drive. I'm Jake Magnotta.
Well, the Daily Express says Labrador Retrievers have been crowned the most obedient dog breed. Labradors, known for their intelligence, strong will to please, and kind nature. They're quick to learn, eager to please, and make ideal family pets due to their patient nature. And could we finally have some good news in the battle against Alzheimer's? We'll tell you in our in-depth impact story in 2 minutes. WHI News Time 6:21.
WHIO's Brian Kilmeade here. I am coming to Dayton at the Victoria Theater Saturday, June 21st. Buy your tickets now at DaytonLive.org. Part of the WHIO 90th anniversary celebration. AM 1290 and 95.7 FM. Dayton's weather, traffic, and Fox News station.
Hey, it's Todd from the Evening Edge on WHIO Radio. I know it's many months away, but this summer, WHIO Radio is celebrating Independence Day with the city of Beaver Creek. It'll be a terrific patriotic day with a parade, family fun festivities, and a spectacular fireworks display. This event is part of the WHIO Radio 90th Anniversary Hometown Celebration, and the city of Beaver Creek is looking for additional sponsors to partner with. Thousands of residents will be there celebrating Independence Day, and if you're a local business and would like to be part of this patriotic event, please visit beavercreekohio.gov/sponsorships for details, or call the City of Beaver Creek Parks, Recreation, and Culture Division at 937-427-5514. That's 937-427-5514. And celebrate Independence Day with WHIO Radio and the City of Beaver Creek.
The WHIO Weekend Preview with what's happening around the Miami Valley. Here's Chris Hartley.
What's up, Miami Valley? Here's what's happening. The Professional Bull Riders is going to be in town this weekend over at the Nutter Center. It's the PBR Velocity Tour. Friday's show is going to begin at 8 p.m. Saturday's show starts at 7. The Shamrock Tenors is going to be in town this weekend over at the Dayton Schuster Center. Ireland's newest sensation will perform on Saturday. That show's going to start at 7:30. Tickets available at DaytonLive.org. The 7th annual Sweet Spring Marketplace is going on. That's over at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds this weekend. This is spring-related arts and crafts fair, Saturday 10 to 5 and Sunday 11 to 4. And movies topping the box office this weekend include Novocaine, Mickey 17, and Black Bag. What a wonderful weekend to check out a movie. With your WHIO Weekend Preview, I'm Chris Hartley.
WHIO has Dayton's #1 morning news program, Miami Valley's Morning News, packed with local news, storm center weather, and triple team traffic. WHIO.
Tired of watching your 401k money go up and down in a crazy stock market? That's not what you want in retirement. Tune into Expedition Retirement with Greg Ayler. Sundays at 10 a.m. on Dayton's News and Talk, WHIO 95.7.
News radio station. The power of WHIO radio and News Center 7 means you'll know first. This is Miami Valley's Morning News on WHIO.
Good morning. Thanks for listening to Miami Valley's Morning News. I'm Brittany Otto. Deadline Hollywood says Tulsa King has been renewed for season 3. The crime drama starring Sylvester Stallone set to start production in Atlanta and Oklahoma. 44 degrees now in Dayton at 6:23.
And that is 23 minutes after 6 o'clock. I'm Jeremy Radliff. Well, the first day of spring is here, the vernal equinox. We get equal parts of daylight and equal parts of nighttime.
What does that mean for us? The days get longer, or the true meaning is we get a little more sunlight now once we move past today. We're heading into the summer months, so hopefully there's hope into warming up. The first day of spring really doesn't feel like it today as temperatures fall through the day. We'll be in the 30s, feeling like we're in the 20s, but by the end of the week and into the weekend, temperatures plateau where they should be.
That is Storm Center 7 meteorologist Bradley Ritz. Here is a WHIO impact story, which means we go in depth on a major story every hour. There may be some good news in the fight against Alzheimer's disease. Fox's Kevin Uretsky brings us the report.
Results of a scientific study published Wednesday in the journal Lancet Neurology indicate that the use of 2 drugs can perhaps slow the progress of early-stage Alzheimer's by removing amyloid from the brain, which is one of the hallmarks of the disease. The findings centered on a small group of 22 participants who received the drugs for around 8 years. Researchers say the next step over the next 5 years is to determine how strong the potential protection is against the buildup of amyloid. However, there is a downside. Grant funding to continue the work is now in question as part of the review of funding by the Trump administration at the National Institutes of Health.
And for any major developments on this story in the days ahead, stay tuned here to 1290 and 95.7 WHIO. A portion of a major interstate just outside of New York City is shut down due to yet another sinkhole.
All lanes on westbound Interstate 80 were closed after a 15 by 15-foot sinkhole opened up in a construction zone. I-80 cuts through New Jersey from New York City to the Pennsylvania state line, then continues all the way to San Francisco, making it a major route for semi-trucks.
That is Fox's Gary Baumgarten reporting. Israeli strikes overnight killed at least 58 Palestinians across Gaza, hitting multiple homes.
3 local hospitals confirmed the toll from the strikes overnight into today. Israel resumed heavy strikes across Gaza on Tuesday, shattering a ceasefire that had halted the war and facilitated the release of more than 24 hostages. Israel blamed the renewed fighting on Hamas because the militant group rejected a new proposal that departed from their agreement.
That is WHIO's Will Taylor.
This is WHIO continuing news.
2 major Las Vegas residencies are getting extended.
Welcome to the Hotel California.
Legendary rock band The Eagles have added dates to their residency at the Las Vegas Sphere. The additional 4 shows will be this September. And the other residency extension. Sir Rod Stewart will perform another 6 shows at the Coliseum.
That is Fox's Monica DeLuca reporting. WHIO News Time 626.
And you can always save more, spend less, avoid getting ripped off. You can do all of that with the help of Dayton's consumer warrior, Clark Howard. Clark always has great advice for you anytime at his website. Just go to clark.com. Here's this morning's Clark tip, sponsored by Joseph Airport Toyota Hyundai.
There's a new all points bulletin from the IRS for you to be aware of scammers redoubling their efforts this year to pretend to be the IRS, sending you emails or texts about an upcoming refund or a problem with your taxes or something like that. Do not bite. Do not click on any link in any text you get pretending to be from the IRS or any email that says it's from the IRS and to click wherever. If there's an issue with the IRS, how are they going to notify you? Old-fashioned snail mail. So any of these texts or emails you're getting are completely flat out a con trying to steal your identity or steal your money. This is Clark.
Whatever the weather outside, stay comfortable inside with Tanner Heating and Air Conditioning, where quality and comfort matter the most. Our cost-effective systems for your home or office and planned service will save you some bucks. Bucks. That's right, Sarah bucks. That will keep your wallet happy. Tanner Heating and Air Conditioning, a reliable local family-owned company that always produces great results. This is Sarah Tanner. Call 299-2500 or go to TannerHVAC.com to schedule today. Tanner Heating and Air Conditioning, a name you can trust.
This is a Consumer Warrior Clark Howard Minute.
Tax season. So the tax code is designed specifically to discourage rapid fire trading, because when you do a buy and sell in less than a year, you're punished by the tax code with punitive tax rates. Or you can look at it in the reverse. When you hold something more than a year, you get preferential, much lower capital gains tax. The difference between ordinary income tax and capital gains tax. If it's really important to scratch that itch, to do rapid fire trading, anything like that, have some money you devote to that. But the money that's really going to matter needs to be Dullsville. Widely diversified investing, index funds that are very low cost to develop meaningful wealth over time. If it's about the sport, then it's not about creating financial security.
Clark is WHIO's Consumer Warrior, and you can hear him during Miami Valley's Morning News on WHIO. What is the WHIO Storm Center? It means when you hear these tones, you are just a few minutes away from emergency weather information. Weather is our number one priority. The Storm Center 7 forecast is always on the radio. 1290 and 95.7 WHIO. And when News Center 7 is in wall-to-wall weather coverage mode, you'll always hear it simulcast on WHIO radio. That means you can take your radio to your safe spot and hear exactly what's happening with severe weather. When it comes to weather, we don't mess around. WHIO, Dayton Springfield. Celebrating our 90th year as the Miami Valley's leading news station. Weather, traffic, and breaking news starts now.
Good morning. It is 6:30. It's Thursday, March 20th. I'm Brittany Otto here on Miami Valley's Morning News with the three big things that you need to know. Lingering rain, moderate at times, switching to flurries later this morning and early this afternoon. President Trump planning to sign an executive order that will shut down the Department of Education. And it is our top story. After President Trump spoke with both countries' leaders this week, Russia and Ukraine agree in principle to a limited ceasefire.
Yeah, that's right, Brittany. And President Trump is pitching U.S. ownership of Ukraine's nuclear power plant as part of a lasting peace deal with Russia. Fox's Jared Halpern has more on this from the White House.
During an hour-long phone call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, President Trump said American ownership of Ukraine's nuclear power plants would be the best protection for the infrastructure and Ukraine's energy.
He said that the United States could be very helpful in running those plants with its electricity and utility expertise.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says a partnership to develop Ukraine's rare earth minerals was not discussed after that deal fell apart in an Oval Office meeting last month.
We are now focused on a long-term peace agreement.
Negotiations are expected this week on expanding a limited ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine.
And of course, you can stay tuned for updates on this developing story here on the home of breaking news, 1290 and 95.7 WHIO.
Welcome to your first day of spring. I'm Storm Center 7 meteorologist Britley Ritz. We have to talk about snowflakes before we get back to normal.
All lanes are open and moving well on our highways this morning. I'm Jake Magnotta with Dayton's most frequent traffic.
I'm Brittany Otto. This is Miami Valley's Morning News on 1290 and 95.7 WHIO, sponsored by Joseph Airport Toyota Hyundai.
And I'm Jeremy Ratliff. Well, 3 people were hospitalized after a crash in Dark County last night. Around 9:30, crews dispatched to the intersection of State Route 49 and U.S. Route 127 on reports of a 2-vehicle crash.
The preliminary investigation revealed that a pickup truck driven by 59-year-old Douglas James of Greenville was heading southeast on State Route 49. A car driven by 19-year-old Kaylin Johnson of Centerville was entering State Route 49 from U.S. Route 127. Police say Johnson failed to yield the right-of-way and was struck by James's vehicle. Johnson and her passenger, 19-year-old Kiera Kinnison McNutt of Greenville, were taken to Miami Valley Hospital with minor injuries.
That is WHIO's Will Taylor. James was taken to Wayne Hospital with minor injuries, and the crash remains under investigation by the Dark County Sheriff's Office. Meanwhile, in Clark County, a park in Springfield being investigated after hateful graffiti messages were posted all over the park.
Park employees found the messages last week and city crews began scrubbing it near the ballpark. Police say the damage is a clear-cut case of vandalism and are currently investigating to find out who did it.
That is WHIO's Ian James reporting. If you have any information, you can call Springfield Police. Now, 3 people are facing charges accused of robbing a person indicted earlier this month.
Investigators say Destiny Wood lured the victim to an apartment on Gant Drive where Jared Korchinski and DeLeon Owens robbed the person at knife point. Deputies say they found the victim's wallet on Owens.
That is WHIO's Ron Otto reporting. All 3 are in the Montgomery County Jail. We're finding out what likely caused the fire that destroyed part of the Overfield Tavern in Troy back in December.
The fire marshal says that the flames started with some sort of electrical issue in the boiler room of the building and that there's no evidence someone started it on purpose. And last week, crews demolished what was left of the most recent additions to the tavern. They will save the original log building. The museum says it will renovate the log house and the log tavern area.
Now, that is News Center 7's Nick Foley reporting. A Dollar General closing stores across the country, and one is here in the Miami Valley. Yesterday was the last day reportedly at the Dollar General near Salem and Grand Avenue in Dayton, and it was open to customers.
There's a store closing sign posted on the front of the building. Word of the closing spread to people in the area who rushed here before they officially closed at 7 o'clock Wednesday night.
That is News Center 7's Taylor Robertson. And company CEO says the closings represent less than 1% of the company's overall store base. President Trump will implement his so-called reciprocal tariffs on other nations come April the 2nd, like China in EU countries. Now, the president joining Fox's The Ingram Angle for an exclusive interview where he says that the U.S. is done being taken advantage of.
On April 2nd, I call it the liberation of America. We've been the fat, dumb, foolish country that allowed everybody to rip us off, including our friends.
And the Federal Reserve projects that the economy's growth will slow and inflation will increase because of the tariffs, but that the tariffs may only cause a one-time increase in prices. A March Madness fully arrives today. Fox's Joe Morgan reports.
It's arguably the best time of year to be a sports fan, as the men's NCAA tournament tips off today with 16 games. From early afternoon to deep into the night, college basketball will be played around the country, with a Cinderella story inevitably becoming the talk of the first weekend.
Meanwhile, after yesterday's win, the Dayton Flyers will play at Chattanooga in the second round of the NIT on Saturday. That game's going to be broadcast right here on the home of the Flyers. WHIO News Time, 6:35.
Well, coming up this morning, following Miami Valley's morning news, we have the Brian Kilmeade Show from 9 until noon. We get a preview of what Brian's going to be talking about today.
I'm Brian Kilmeade. Big show coming your way. Buckle up. Fight around every corner for Trump and Tom Homan as they're doing what's necessary to get illegal criminals out of our country, but pushing back against sanctuary cities and crazy liberal judges. Musk insanity continues as Teslas are defiled and torched, charging stations defaced and more. Why I believe this is as concerning as anything that's happened in our country in decades, and education front and center. We'll talk about it all with the great roster of guests on the Brian Kilmeade Show.
All that coming up this morning starting at 9 a.m. And it's been more than a decade, but the search for a missing aircraft may soon resume. We've got that story in 2 minutes. WHIO News Time, 6:36.
WHIO is Dayton's #1 traffic station. We watch it from the air, from the ground, and from your car. Triple Team Traffic with Jake Magnotta is only on 1290 and 95.7 WHIO. Depend on it.
North Dayton, North Dayton, North Dayton Garden Center.
Hi, Pete Kasuja here to remind you that our shade tree and fruit tree sale is on all this month with thousands of trees, shrubs, evergreens, Colorado spruce and rose bushes, perennials and ground cover plants, all ready to plant now to give them an early start. Our famous green mat grass seed is custom blended for our Ohio soil to give you a full and sturdy lawn. Sow today and mow in May. Our grapevines and blueberries and blackberry vines are beautiful, and in our 16 greenhouses, we're getting ready with thousands of flats of annuals and vegetable plants for later this spring. And remember, we're open 7 days. We're about a mile east of the Stanley Avenue exit on I-75.
Resident Home Association has been providing quality services to individuals with developmental disabilities for over 57 years. We provide a safe environment with dependable staff that are compassionate and understanding of the needs of everyone we serve. We partner with the community to create opportunities for individuals to build friendships and experiences that will last a lifetime. If you would like to find out how you can help support making miracles come true, head over to rhadayton.com. That's rhadayton.com.
Good morning, Dayton. You're waking up with the information you need to start the day. Miami Valley's morning news continues on WHIO.
Good morning, and thanks for listening to Miami Valley's morning news on this Thursday. I'm Brittany Otto. Food and Wine Magazine saying 7-Eleven's teaming up with Shack to create a new sour pineapple Slurpee. 44 degrees in Dayton at 6:38.
And that is 22 minutes here ahead of 7 o'clock. I'm Jeremy Ratliff. A person who crashed into a traffic sign and a tree has to make a trip to a hospital early yesterday.
It happened in Beaver Creek Township at Indian Ripple Road and Signature Drive just before 3. State troopers say 33-year-old Brandon Holscher of Dayton drove off the side of the road. He was taken to Miami Valley Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
That is WHIO's Jason Michaels. He was ticketed for failure to maintain control. A Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, making an announcement on interest rates. Fox Business's Edward Lawrence reports from the Federal Reserve.
Left rates unchanged. That's what the Federal Reserve Chairman did. But, more important than that, we got the forecast for the rest of the year. Now, the dot plot, that famed dot plot, shows 2 rate cuts of 25 basis points the Federal Reserve is signifying will happen this year. That is exactly the same as it was in their December forecast. Now, the message from the Fed chairman was, let's wait and see how these policies will start to play out. And that signals a pause. In the short term, though, the Federal Reserve Chairman believes inflation will be impacted by tariffs, but he says it won't have an implication for long-term expectations.
And committee members for the Federal Reserve suggest that the unemployment rate will rise to 4.4% this year before falling to 4.3% over the next 2 years. Check your freezer after frozen meals by Stouffer's and Lean Cuisine are recalled.
Nestle USA initiated the voluntary recall after customers reached out to the company with complaints of the possible presence of a wood-like material in the meals, including one potential choking incident to date, according to the Food and Drug Administration alert.
That is Fox's CJ Papa reporting. We have more information at WHIO.com.
This is WHIO Continuing News.
President Trump expected to make history with an appearance at a cryptocurrency conference.
Blockworks, the crypto-focused media platform taking to X to reveal President Trump will speak at its Digital Asset Summit in New York City, posting this is the first time a sitting president has addressed a crypto conference.
That is Fox's Kristen Goodwin reporting. WHIO News Time, 6:41.
And we're going to get your 5-day weather forecast now with Storm Center 7 meteorologist Brittany Ritz.
35 degrees this afternoon. We actually get colder through the day as our winds shift to the north behind a cold front. It'll feel like we're in the 20s, and a few snowflakes are possible on this first day of spring. Dropping down to 27 overnight, 54 tomorrow, partly cloudy. Dry on the front half of Saturday with a little sunshine, getting us up to 50. Next chance of rain moves in late Saturday and into Sunday, all day Sunday, with a low in the 20s and a high in the 50s. Monday, showers continue on early on as our temperatures hover around 52 degrees.
The live Doppler 7 radar is clear. It's 44 in Piqua, 45 in Springfield, 44 degrees at Dayton Severe Weather Station.
This traffic report is sponsored by Grismer Tire and Auto Service. Refresh your ride with brand new tires at unbeatable prices. Plus, buy 4 new tires and get 4 free oil changes, an additional $300 value. Make an appointment today at GrismerTire.com.
Here's traffic expert Jake Magnotta.
Still not seeing any lanes blocked on I-75, I-70, or 675 this morning. Route 35 is also flowing well for us. We have no reported crashes. I'm Jake Magnotta.
Well, Rent a Grandma company in Las Vegas is providing services with a purpose. Clients matched with grandmas who offer caregiving, companionship, and even help with household tasks. The owner believes in the value of connecting seniors with families in need. And an LA music mogul being accused of being more like a mob boss. That story coming up in 3 minutes. WHIO News Time 6:43.
This is the Miami Valley's home for Fox News. WHIO. This is the legendary WHIO, Dayton's only 24-hour news station. Using the power of News Center 7, we have dozens of reporters all over the Miami Valley.
News Center 7's Caleb.
Breaking news when it happens. We're the home of Dayton's only all-news morning show, Miami Valley's Morning News.
This is Larry Hanskin.
Then, throughout the day, listen for updated local news every 15 minutes. When breaking news happens, we stop what we're doing and go wall to wall. This is 1290 and 95.7 WS News and Talk.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance, like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Missions to Mars, driverless cars, AI chatbots. Feels like we're already living in the future. Robinhood is built for the future of trading. Robinhood's intuitive design makes trading seamless so you can spot opportunities and take control of your trades. You can now even trade stocks and crypto all in one place. Sign up for a Robinhood account today. Investing is risky. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, is a registered broker-dealer. Trading during extended hours involves additional risks. Cryptocurrency services are offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Only two things in life are certain, death and taxes. How about one more? Switch from Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile to cut your bill in half with Pure Talk. For just $25 a month, you get unlimited talk, text, 5 gigs of data on America's most dependable 5G network. Making the switch, it's simple, fast, and easy. You dial pound 250, you say the keyword Pure Talk, and make the switch. You do it now, you save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, wireless, by Americans, for Americans.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Together with the resources of News Center 7, you're on Dayton's #1 news team. Now, back to Miami Valley's morning news on WHIO.
Good morning. It's 6:45. I'm Brittany Otto on Miami Valley's morning news with the 3 big things that you need to know. An apparent accident is what caused flames to burn the oldest log tavern in Ohio. Well, come April, the president says he'll implement his reciprocal tariffs. And it is our top story. President Trump spoke with both leaders from Russia and Ukraine this week. And now Russia and Ukraine agree in principle to a limited ceasefire.
Yeah, Brittany, we don't know yet exactly when it might take effect or what possible targets would be off limits to attack.
The tentative deal to partially rein in the war came after Russian President Putin rebuffed President Trump's push for a full 30-day ceasefire. After a call with President Trump yesterday that both leaders said went well, Ukraine's president said that technical talks in Saudi Arabia this weekend would seek to resolve what types of infrastructure would be protected under the agreement.
That is WHIO's Will Taylor reporting. You may have to change your drive through Greene County this morning to make way for a superload.
County Engineer's Office says workers will transport an electric transformer from a Fairborn Railroad site to an AES substation beginning at 9 a.m. It will take East Xenia to East Dayton Drives, Ohio 444 to West Dayton Yellow Springs Road, then Treybine to Dayton Xenia Road, and will take 3 to 4 hours.
That is WHIO's Ron Auto reporting. The load measures over 117 feet long, 11 feet wide, and nearly 20 feet high, and weighs over 400,000 pounds. A newly released files on the assassination of President Kennedy in 1963 casts questions regarding accused assassin Lee Oswald's behavior.
His defection, his reasons were unknown. He seemed disoriented. He married a Russian. Cassasin, the CIA employee, said that while he does not believe Oswald was sent back to the U.S. by the Soviets, he cannot preclude that possibility.
Now, Fox's David Spunt, they're reporting many of the documents have blurred words due to redactions that may turn out to be unrecoverable in 2025 here. A plan's been agreed to resume the search for an airliner that mysteriously vanished over a decade ago.
Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 disappeared while flying from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing in China in 2014. Now, the Malaysian government's agreed terms with an exploration firm to try once again to find the wreckage. More than 5,500 square miles of Indian Ocean seabed is being examined. The Boeing 777's transponder was turned off not long after takeoff. Investigators believe the airplane's controls were likely deliberately manipulated off course.
And it's Fox's Jonathan Savage reporting. Is your bracket complete ahead of today's tournament games? Fox's Joe Morgan reports.
Auburn enters the tournament as the number 1 overall seed, taking on 16-seed Alabama State Thursday afternoon in the South region. Duke, Houston, and Florida are the other number 1 seeds. On Friday, which will see 16 more games, the UConn Huskies kick off their back-to-back championship defense against Oklahoma, but they do so as an 8 seed after losing 10 games leading up to the tournament.
Yeah, meanwhile, after yesterday's win, the Dayton Flyers will play at Chattanooga in the second round of the NIT on Saturday. That game's going to be broadcast right here on the home of the Flyers. WHIO News Time, 6:49.
And we get your 5-day weather forecast this morning with Storm Center 7 meteorologist Britley Ritz.
Temperatures fall through the day as the cold front works its way through. A few snowflakes possible on this first day of spring. 27 tomorrow morning, 54 tomorrow afternoon, partly cloudy, which is pretty much where we should be. Low 50s on Saturday. A little sunshine goes a long way, but the clouds thicken up. And Sunday, we've got the chance of rain all day long with a high of 51. Lingering showers early Monday with a high of 52.
The live Doppler 7 radar is clear. It is 44 in Troy. It's 43 in Eaton, 44 degrees at Dayton Severe Weather Station.
This traffic report is sponsored by Grismer Tire and Auto Service. Expert brake repair you can trust. Make sure you can stop when you need to the most. Get a little peace of mind by making an appointment today with your trusted brake repair experts at GrismerTire.com.
And here's traffic expert Jake Magnotta.
Checking out 675 through Fairborn in Beaver Creek. We haven't had any slowdowns through here all morning long. Still normal for us across the entire area, but southbound 675 from I-70 to US 35 in Beaver Creek is 13 miles. It's an 11-minute drive. I'm Jake Magnotta.
Gulf Coast News says a Marco Island, Florida man named John Johnson has found a unique way to tackle the nationwide egg shortage. He's using iguana eggs instead of chicken eggs. Johnson owns Down Goes Iguana and harvests iguana eggs to create tasty dishes. He combines the eggs with milk, salt, pepper, and Latin-inspired spices to make the omelets. And women's basketball getting a little bit bigger. We've got the details coming up for you in 2 minutes. WHIO News Time 6:51.
WHIO's Brian Kilmeade here. I am coming to Dayton at the Victoria Theater Saturday, June 21st. Buy your tickets now at DaytonLive.org. Part of the WHIO 90th anniversary celebration. AM 1290 and 95.7 FM. Dayton's weather, traffic, and Fox News station.
At the original 5-Star Plumbing Company, we're family owned and operated, which means we understand plumbing and family dynamics.
You clogged the toilet! I thought it was the goldfish.
Whether it's a fishy situation or a leaky pipe, we're here to help. Since 1997, our mission has been to offer the community a better, more affordable plumbing option. When family plumbing emergencies strike, the original 5-Star Plumbing Company has the experience to handle it. Call us today at 937-902-6195.
Is your family aware of what's to happen to you after your passing? Are your wishes for a traditional burial or cremation? How will everything be paid for? Woodland Historic Cemetery and Arboretum encourages you to pre-plan these details. Inflation is felt by all of us. Planning ahead prevents emotional overspending and protects your family's interests. Why choose Woodland? Because it's beautiful, timeless, and still available. Advanced planning is the best gift you could give to your loved ones. Visit woodlandcemetery.org to request more information on pre-planning.
Elevate your kitchen or bathroom with breathtaking countertops from Stone Center of Dayton. Explore our large indoor inventory of granite and quartz, and now featuring a large selection of quartzites. We're locally owned and operated and offer in-house design help. Visit us at stonecenterofdayton.com.
Breaking news all morning. The Storm Center 7 forecast to start your day and triple team traffic. Miami Valley's morning news continues on WHIO.
Good morning, and thanks for listening to Miami Valley's Morning News. I'm Brittany Otto. After a win over Florida Atlantic last night in the NIT tournament, the Dayton Flyers take on Chattanooga Saturday morning. Tip-off 11:30, pregame 10:30 here on your home of the Flyers, where it's 44 degrees in Dayton at 6:53.
And that is 7 minutes here ahead of 7 o'clock. I'm Jeremy Ratliff. A prominent music executive in Los Angeles is accused of mafia-like crimes.
Eugene Henley turning himself into authorities. The 58-year-old is accused of numerous charges under the RICO Act, including the murder of rapper Rayshawn Williams and defrauding famous NBA athletes. Law enforcement officials say Henley is a longtime member of the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips Street gang. 10 other alleged members of that gang have been arrested and face various federal crime charges.
That is Fox's Chris DeMeo reporting. A chef turned actor now gets into the music industry.
The Canadian chef and actor best known for his role in The Bear, Matty Matheson, has announced a new hardcore band called Pigpen. He made the official announcement online, saying this music project has been in the works for years, posting a teaser clip.
That is Fox's Monica DeLuca reporting. An Indiana Fever road game will now take place at a different venue.
The Caitlin Clark effect is real. The Dallas Wings announced Wednesday that their June 27th game against Clark in the Indiana Fever will be played at American Airlines Center, home of the NBA's Mavericks. The arena has a capacity of 20,000, compared to just over 6,000 where the Wings play their home games. It's just the latest move by a WNBA team to a larger arena when Clark comes to town.
That is Fox's Joe Morgan reporting. WHIO News Time, 6:55.
Good morning. Thanks for listening to Miami Valley's Morning News. I'm Brittany Otto, joined this morning by Jeremy Ratliff.
Good morning.
And Will Taylor.
Good morning.
And March Madness kicks off today, and there's a survey out by Talker Research. It reveals that the average American is willing to bet $120 on their March Madness brackets this year. Other findings, Gen Zers are willing to lose an average of $199, while millennials are willing to lose $205 on their brackets. 46% of Americans participate in March Madness. 15% of Gen Zers have taken long lunches to catch a game. 11% of millennials have watched March Madness games from the bathroom. 14% of Americans base their March Madness bracket on a hunch. And 10% of millennials choose their March Madness bracket picks on whether or not they like the team's mascot. So, you guys, we kind of discussed this. Brackets are done, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have not done mine yet.
I did. Ooh.
I'm going to this morning, but I haven't done it yet. So, does any of the stuff on this list resonate with you? Not everybody at once. Settle down.
For me, not so much anymore. I mean, I feel like when coming out of college, the tournament was such a big deal. And now with, kids and being busy and life, it's not been as big of a thing. Now I can kind of watch it more as a fan and not be as worried about.
Not as into it.
My bracket. Yeah.
Okay. Will, how about you?
I don't know. I don't put any money on basketball. I think basketball is very hard to bet on, especially March Madness, because like anything could happen.
Yeah.
But I do take a hunch. I will say I'm a gut guy.
Okay.
So if I've got a gut feeling, then usually I'll go with that.
Okay.
And it's usually wrong, but
but you go with it anyway.
I go with it anyway.
That's all right. Yeah, I mean, $200 being willing to lose that just seems like a lot of money to me.
No.
On a basketball bracket. But I do love March Madness. My favorite thing is the storytelling that happens during the tournament. Like, they always kind of single out like that one player on the team, and they give you like this amazing backstory about this kid. And I just think it's just fun to watch. I just really enjoy it outside of the brackets and all that kind of stuff. Like, I just think it's fun to learn more about these kids and to be able to spotlight some of these teams. And my favorite are the Cinderella stories. You know?
And the other thing that makes it so exciting and intense is that for some of them, this might be the last game, legit game they play. They're playing for their... Not all of them are, going to the NBA where you get to play year after year after year. Some of them, it may be one and done. So there's a lot of emotion.
There's a lot of emotion, and you make a good point by that, because I wonder if that is why we see some of these upsets, because these guys are leaving it all on the court.
Yeah.
And a lot of the players from like the number one seeds and stuff like that are going to move on and have careers in the NBA. So maybe it's just not as gut-wrenching for them or whatever like it is for the other teams. I don't know. But all right, well, I look forward to watching. And if you're watching today, enjoy March Madness. And we've got new information for you this morning. President Trump talking to leaders from Russia and Ukraine this week, and now they've agreed in principle to a limited ceasefire. We've got the details in 2 minutes. WHI News Time 6:58.
The original 5-Star Plumbing Company has been servicing the Miami Valley since 1997. We've been fixing leaks longer than most folks have had access to the internet. Don't be confused with those other wannabes. The original 5-Star Plumbing Company has the tools, the talent, and the trustworthiness to tackle any plumbing challenge. Call the original 5-Star Plumbing Company today at 937-902-6195 or go to 5starplumbingservices.com.
Be the change you wish to see in the world with a charitable checking account through the Dayton Foundation. This free online donor-advised fund option helps you inspire change in the causes and charities that matter most to you. Learn more at DaytonFoundation.org or call 937-222-0410 to talk directly with a staff member. The Dayton Foundation, our region's community foundation since 1921. They help you help others. Let's go Flyers! Restore more with Ram Restoration, your trusted full-service solution for your home or business. Got water damage, fire damage, mold issues? Don't worry. We've got you covered with our 24/7 emergency response. Count on us to restore your property to tip-top shape. Visit RamRestorationUSA.com. Need a new roof or siding? Looking to add an addition? We also offer remodeling, roofing, construction, and plumbing services. Ram Restoration. Everything under one roof. Visit us today at RamRestorationUSA.com.
Skyline is now serving up Mike's Hot Honey Conies and Ways. For a limited time, you can order your Skyline favorites with a drizzle of Mike's Hot Honey Extra Hot. It's pure honey blended with chili peppers for the perfect combination of sweet and heat. Proof that some things are just better together. Mike's Hot Honey Conies and Ways are only at participating Skyline restaurants while supplies last. So come to Skyline today and get your Mike's Hot Honey Conies and Ways.
WHIO, Dayton Springfield. Celebrating our 90th year as the Miami Valley's leading news station. Weather, traffic, and breaking news starts now.
Good morning. It is 7 o'clock. It's Thursday, March 20th. I'm Brittany Otto on Miami Valley's Morning News with the three big things that you need to know. Lingering rain, moderate at times. We'll switch over to flurries later this morning and early this afternoon. President Trump planning to sign an executive order that will shut down the Department of Education. And it is our top story. Ukraine and Russia agreeing in principle to a limited ceasefire.
That's right, Brittany. And that's after President Trump spoke with the country's leaders this week. Though it remains to be seen when it might take effect and what possible targets would be off limits to attack. WHIO's Will Taylor continues our team coverage.
The tentative deal to partially rein in the grinding war came after Russian President Vladimir Putin rebuffed President Trump's push for a full 30-day ceasefire. After a roughly hour-long call with Trump on Wednesday that both leaders said went well, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky told reporters that technical talks in Saudi Arabia this weekend would seek to resolve what types of infrastructure would be protected under the agreement.
Yeah, meanwhile, Special Envoy to Ukraine, General Keith Kellogg, telling Fox's The Story with Martha McCallum that he thinks the peace talks and negotiations will be successful.
I think everybody has to calm down a bit. Ceasefires are a little bit messy at the start. They're going to calm down. Both sides are going to get together. You're going to get to these complex negotiations, hopefully starting next week in Saudi Arabia. You come up with your term sheets, what it looks like at the end, and then you go to comprehensive ceasefire. So I'm not very concerned about it. I think it's going to occur. It's going to happen.
And, of course, you can stay tuned for updates on this developing story here on the home of breaking news, 1290 and 95.7 WHIO.
Temperatures have definitely cooled now that the severe weather threat is gone. I'm Storm Center 7 meteorologist Britley Ritz. We'll talk about how cold we'll be today and when we finally get to warm up.
75 and the rest of our freeway looks good so far for the morning drive. I'm Jake Magnotta with Dayton's most frequent traffic.
This is Miami Valley's morning news on 1290 and 95.7 WHIO. I'm Brittany Otto.
And I'm Jeremy Ratliff. A former Kettering City school administrator accused of having a sexual relationship with a student pleads guilty to a lesser charge.
Joey Irwin will be designated a Tier 1 sex offender and could get up to 18 months in prison at sentencing. Irwin was a network administrator at Fairmont High School when prosecutors say he had the relationship with a then 18-year-old student